There comes a time in life when the roles between parents and children begin to change. You spend decades raising and guiding them, sacrificing for their sake. But one day you realize that something has changed. Children may ignore your advice, reject your opinion, or speak condescendingly. It hurts. If children treat you with less respect than you deserve, it causes frustration and anger. You recall the years when you put them first. Getting angry won't help. It will only make the situation worse. There is a more effective way to regain respect without quarrels, arguments, and resentment. Today, I will talk about 6 things you can do when children do not respect you. These simple changes in reaction can change their perception. Some steps may surprise you. If you watch until the end, you will learn how to regain your place as a respected and valued person in their lives. Let's begin. Step 1. Stop seeking. One of the biggest mistakes parents make is the excessive desire to please their children, especially as they grow older. Many follow them blindly, forgetting their own desires and needs. Parents often say yes when they want to say no, putting their children's needs above their own. They hope that this way the children will value and respect them. But the bitter truth is that the more you strive to gain children's approval, the less they respect you. Respect does not come through self-sacrifice. Respect is earned through self-respect, not constant yielding. If you always give in and try to keep the peace, you teach children that your feelings don't matter. When children begin to believe that their parents' feelings are secondary, it becomes easy for them to take those feelings for granted and not appreciate their efforts and opinions. I knew a woman named Margaret, strong and independent in her youth. Over time, she let the children make all the decisions and adapted to their needs. She kept her opinions to herself, ignored the children's rudeness, just to keep the family and peace at home. She said, "I just want to keep the family together." But as a result, her children stopped valuing her, seeing her as someone who would always yield and agree without showing respect or gratitude. She always remained silent. She thought she was keeping the peace, but in reality she was losing her voice and ceasing to be herself in the family. If your children don't respect you, the first step is not to demand respect. You need to stop behaving as if it is something you need and is taken for granted. Set boundaries. Learn to say no when necessary. Say what you think, even if the children don't like it or it causes dissatisfaction. Once you start respecting yourself, children will begin to see you differently. Over time, that respect will return to you and strengthen family relationships. Step 2. Don't argue, but lead by example. When children reject your opinion and behave disrespectfully, don't engage in pointless arguments. Your first impulse is to argue, to remind of everything you have done, to demand to be heard. But arguments never lead to respect. Think about the last time you convinced someone to respect you by arguing with them. Respect is not earned with words, but through your behavior. Respect is earned by your presence and how you respond when others test your patience and boundaries. If you respond to disrespect with anger, you only confirm the opinion that others have power over you and can control you. I knew a man named Frank, a retiree and teacher, who spent his life teaching others how important it is to remain calm and dignified. Frank always behaved confidently, but at home his adult children took him for granted. They ignored his advice and rejected his care, sometimes even laughing at him. At first, Frank tried to argue, proving that he deserved respect. But with every argument, the situation only worsened, and he felt growing alienation from his children. One day, he decided to change his approach. Instead of arguing, he began to truly listen, stopped demanding respect with words, and started behaving as if respect was already there. Frank spoke calmly and wisely, not trying to win the argument. His children began to see in him a strong personality that did not need approval or proof. If children do not respect you, do not fight for it. Show respect through your attitude towards yourself, maintain dignity, and speak with confidence. The main thing is to never stoop to their level. When you carry yourself with dignity, children will feel it and eventually follow your example. If you are watching this video and find these ideas useful, write the number 2 in the comments so I know this is important to you. You are here. If you haven't subscribed yet, I recommend subscribing and turning on notifications so you don't miss new videos. Your support helps us create good content. The content is created to inform and inspire you. Now, let's continue. Step 3. Stop being emotionally dependent on your children, which is an important lesson in growing up. You cannot depend on children for emotional fulfillment. You can love them deeply, but dependence changes the strength of the relationship and makes it tense. When children feel they need to give you a sense of worth, the balance of the relationship is disturbed, creating pressure that causes tension and distance. People, even their own children, respect those who are emotionally independent. Dependence on recognition, love, or attention creates pressure and hinders free relationships. Instead of gratitude, children may feel burdened. They may distance themselves, show impatience or irritation the more you chase their love. The more you strive for their love, the less they give it. I knew a woman named Helen, a kind-hearted mother who gave everything to her children. When the children grew up and started their own lives, Helen began waiting for calls from them, hoping for their attention and love, but faced disappointment. They didn't call her, but she called them herself, too often reminding them of her boredom and desire for them to visit more often. Instead of bringing them closer, her calls began to be perceived as an obligation rather than a joyful anticipation of meeting and communication. Then, one day, Helen decided to change her behavior. She stopped calling first and stopped waiting for their calls. Instead, she focused on herself, started a new hobby, socialized with friends, and took care of her own happiness. Something amazing happened. Her children began to call more often, respecting her time and seeing that she was living a full life. The lesson is simple. The less you depend on your children to feel needed, the more they appreciate your presence. When you demonstrate independence, children begin to respect you not out of obligation, but out of genuine admiration. Step 4. Set boundaries and stick to them strictly to maintain respect and order in relationships. One of the main reasons for losing respect from children is when parents allow disrespectful treatment towards themselves. If you allow your opinion to be ignored and are treated without respect, it destroys harmony and mutual understanding. People continue to behave in a certain way not out of malice, but because those around them, especially family, treat them as they allow. Setting boundaries does not mean breaking relationships or creating conflict. It is the ability to calmly and firmly define what behavior is acceptable and what is not. The most important thing is to uphold these boundaries when they are violated. It is necessary to act consistently so that people understand what is unacceptable. I remember Robert, a retiree and former businessman, who ran a company with discipline and confidence all his life, but had difficulties in family relationships. His adult children interrupted him, ignored his feelings, and criticized his lifestyle. At first, he endured it, thinking it was not worth arguing. Over time, Robert realized that silence taught them that such behavior was normal. He decided to change his approach and start setting boundaries. When his son interrupted him, he calmly said, "I will continue speaking when you are ready to listen to me." This was the first step toward change. When his daughter ignored his opinion, he responded, "You don't have to agree with me, but I expect respect." Such words changed the dynamics of the relationship. And when the children continued to violate his boundaries, Robert began to make them understand the consequences of such behavior, not allowing himself to be ignored. He told the children that if they did not treat him with respect, he would not spend time with them. At first, they resisted, but then they started to listen. Over time, the children realized that their father does not give up and values himself enough to demand respect. This made them start to truly respect him. If your children do not respect you, it's worth considering. Do you allow it? Without established boundaries, respect will not appear on its own. If you don't stand up for yourself, no one else will. It's important to learn to defend your rights and value yourself. If you are watching this video and find the ideas useful, write number 4 in the comments so I know you're here. If you haven't subscribed yet, I recommend subscribing and turning on notifications so you don't miss new videos. Your support helps us create good content to inform and inspire you. Thank you for being with us. Now let's continue. Step 5. Stop giving without recognition. This is one of the fastest ways to lose respect. Parents often give their time, effort, and support, even when it is not acknowledged and taken for granted. They are met only with a sense of entitlement. The truth is, when you give to someone who doesn't appreciate it, you don't build love, you create expectations. They stop valuing your kindness and start to see it as something owed. Once you stop, they feel discomfort, not gratitude. I knew a man named George, a father who was always generous with his children. He helped them financially, changing his life for their needs. Instead of gratitude, he heard complaints. The children did not say thank you, but expected more help and support. The worst happened when George needed help, but the children were too busy to assist him. One day, George decided to change the situation. He stopped overexerting himself and helping without being asked. Most importantly, he began to say no when it was necessary. At first, the children were disappointed and did not understand. Over time, the children began to appreciate his time and efforts. They realized that generosity is a gift, not a guarantee. If it seems to you that your children do not appreciate your time, efforts, or kindness, take a step back and ask yourself if you are giving too much. If you really are giving more than you should, think about what will happen if you stop doing it. This is an important question to realize. When you teach people that your generosity depends on respect, they begin to treat it accordingly, with attention and gratitude. Step 6. Build a life outside of your children. This is one of the most powerful ways to regain respect and show that your happiness does not depend on them. Parents often dedicate themselves to their children and make them the center of their lives, but as they age, this dynamic changes, and it is important to understand that. If you have always put your children first, they may begin to see you as a person without other interests, which reduces respect. People respect those who have their own goals, interests, and a sense of fulfillment, and children are no exception to this rule. If children see that you depend on them for entertainment, recognition, or meaning, they may feel suffocated or uncomfortable. Even worse, they may start to perceive you as a person who has no life of their own, which destroys respect and connection. I knew a woman named Eleanor, a widow around 70 years old, who, after her husband's death, put all her energy into her children's lives. She constantly called and gave advice, trying to guide her children, but this did not always lead to the desired result. They did not ask for it, expecting to fill the void left by their father. But instead of bringing them closer, it only pushed them away, and visits became less frequent, calls shorter. Eleanor felt lonelier than ever before. Then she decided to change her life and joined a book club. She began traveling with friends and volunteering at the local community center, expanding her social circle and filling her days with meaning. Eleanor stopped making her children the center of her world, and something amazing happened. The children started calling more often and showing interest in her life. The children admired her independence and began to respect her. If children don't respect you, consider whether they see you as a full-fledged person. Do they see you as someone who lives, not just exists? Show them your life, and they will begin to see you in a new light. If you are watching this video and find the ideas helpful, write the number 6 in the comments so I know you support me. If you haven't subscribed yet, I recommend subscribing and turning on the notification bell so you don't miss new videos and inspiration. Your support helps create quality content that informs and inspires, sharing important thoughts. Final thoughts. Respect is, the text breaks off, inviting reflection on the importance of respect in relationships. You cannot demand respect from children directly. It is something you inspire through your behavior, setting boundaries, and leading by example. If children have started showing less care and respect, don't waste energy on anger. Instead, change your approach and stop chasing their approval. The less you need their approval, the more they will give it. Lead by example, because your dignity speaks louder than words. Give up emotional dependence. The more independent you become, the more your presence is respected. Set boundaries to be respected. Stop giving without recognition, because generosity taken for granted loses its value. Learn to appreciate your efforts and not give everything away for free. The most important thing is to build a life outside of your children. People respect those who have purpose, joy, and a sense of fulfillment in their lives. If you do all this, your children will start to see you differently, not as someone waiting for their attention, but as a person who commands respect simply by existing. Over time, respect will return to you not because you demand it, but because you deserve it through your behavior and life. You demanded it because you earned it. Thank you for joining us today. We are very glad to see you and ready to hear your thoughts and ideas. Leave a comment below and share one lesson you learned today. Tell us how you plan to apply this lesson in your life. Your thoughts are important to us. Feel free to express your opinion and share your experience. Reading comments inspires and motivates our team. If you liked this video and found it useful, please like, subscribe to the channel, and share it with friends. Your support helps us continue creating quality content to inform and inspire you. Thank you for watching, and see you in the next video.